Hey guys, it's Jeff Meacham. I played the wedding DJ in the season 3 finale. I believe it was 2007. I had just moved to Los Angeles. It was the second job I ever booked out in LA. First comedy I had booked, first multicam. And as soon as I got onto set, I was like, oh, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And here's why. We get onto set. It's this, wedding set. There's a lot of background. There's all sorts of moving parts. And I'm up in the kind of a bird's eye view in the DJ booth. And boom, first team comes in. And you guys are all carrying your coffees and your sides. And you're cracking jokes and having the best time together. And Pam comes in and kind of orchestrates the whole scene. Neil's character comes and stands next to me. And then you guys rehearse. And someone just yells the word, second team! And you guys just kind of funnel off together, leave, grab your coffees, and you're giggling as you're leaving. And in comes this group of people that kind of look like you, wearing chalkboards with your characters' names on them. And I was like, what is this? And somebody comes over and they're like, oh, yeah. They basically come in, rehearse, and then they leave, and they get to go have the best time of their lives. While these people come in and do all the blocking and get everything set with the lights, and then they come back in, tell jokes, and be stars. And I was like, oh, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. So that really was a big turning point in my life where I was like, oh, this is amazing. I remember that. I remember how kind Pam was. In fact, I just got to work with her again recently. And how cool it was, as this young 20-something where Neil comes over and stands next to me. I was like, hey, man, I grew up watching you. You're amazing. And he's like, thanks. I was like, oh, also, do you remember on Law & Order a couple years ago where you played that kind of psycho killer guy where you lobotomized women by pouring hot water into their brains? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, my wife was that woman. And he was like, cool. I was like, cool. So there you go. Incredible show to be on. You guys were the best, and I can't thank you enough for that experience.
I'm alone. What a pity I won't be soon in New York City. When I see you, please permit me to tell you everything in New York City. Well, thank you, Jeff. What a great note to start the show with, and what a voice he has.
He's got a great
voice.
voice.
Own podcast, right?
Killer voice. Alec has done a podcast with Jeff, right? They're buddies.
Oh, okay.
Jeff. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great story, Jeff. I'm so glad that I didn't know that, like, that little bit you did, being in that one episode, this episode, Something Borrowed, meant so much to you and was such an early part of your journey. That's
it's
one of
also
the many
really,
things, like, you don't know what it means in the moment. And
it's good to when you're starting out in a business as crazy and unpredictable as the one we're in. It's really good to have good early formative experiences where you see a functional working set where people are happy. It's fun to tell stories. It's fun to be there. So we're glad we were able to provide.
They're not all like that. Not every set is like that. And yeah. That's cool. Thanks, Jeff.
Well, we're thrilled you could join us, and we're thrilled you who are listening to this could join us here today for another episode of How We Made Your Mother, where Craig Thomas and I talk about the TV show we made together, How I Met Your Mother. I played Ted Mosby on that show from 2005 to 2014. Craig and his buddy Carter Bays co-created the show. We did 208 episodes of the show, and we are barreling through watching. We're watching them all again, and we're coming to the end of season 2.
How is it possible?
It's incredible. Today we're talking about episode 21, Something Borrowed, written by Greg Malins, one of our faves, who was on the show a couple episodes ago this season. And Alec, tell us historically, root us. When did this episode air?
Yeah, cast your mind back to May 7th, 2007.
Wow.
It's a TV wedding, so it happened in May sweeps. We could have guessed May. May would have been the topmost. That would have been number one on the Family Feud guesses. Yeah, that's crazy, man. This is a good one. This is a good one. This begins. This is kind of part one of a two-parter. And Josh actually said earlier today, like, it's kind of part two of a three-parter, because it feels like the episode Showdown that precedes this has a few little nuggets planted in it about the wedding. You actually get a little glimpse of this wedding. Marshall's in a hat in the wedding, very mysteriously.
Led Jordana to say, "Why is Marshall wearing a hat?"
In that weird hat. And you go, wait for it. Wait for it.
And also, isn't Showdown where Ted and Robin come in their spaghetti-stained clothes?
Yes,
Yeah.
they come in and they're covered in spaghetti sauce, and they say, "We'll tell you that later," and they mean it. They mean much later because you don't find
Yeah.
out until the episode after this. But that's why these three feel like a 3-part finale in a way
Yeah.
of the season.
Well, again, it's mysteries. It's little mysteries
Little
woven
mysteries.
throughout. But it also shows to me that you guys were really mapping this thing out, and
Yeah.
you wanted everything to count.
Yeah,
You know, sometimes there's dangling threads or people comment and say, why did this happen? Because in episode, season 7, this happened. And you couldn't account for everything. But I think you guys did an amazing job.
thank you.
Tying
we
things
took
up
it
and-
seriously.
Yeah.
I was very excited because my wife hadn't seen this one in a long time, and I said, well, I guess it was in Showdown. I said this. I said, do you remember why they're covered in pasta sauce? And she's like, no. It's just
I didn't
register.
remember.
It didn't register for her at all, and she was like, she didn't think it was weird. It just kind of goes by.
Yeah.
And then like when we watched the spoilers. We watched the one we'll talk about after this, which is Something Blue, the finale of season 2, and it paid off. And she was very excited because she's like, "That's the pasta sauce. Okay, now I got it." She'd completely forgotten.
Yeah. I forgot about it, and I had actual pasta sauce spilled onto me. And
You're
I
the
forgot
person
about it.
who should have had the strongest visceral memory.
Vivid memory. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that speaks
really
to, like, Carter is a crossword puzzle guy, like me.
Yeah.
But I think you both have a sense of, like, puzzlemanship. Is that a word? Like,
Puzzlemanship. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
you like things kind of falling into place. You like,
Yes.
you like a good mislead. You like, what is
Yes.
going on? Why freeze frame? Let's back up. Let's
Yeah.
show how we got there.
Yeah,
You
we
know?
love telling stories like that. We looked at these seasons kind of like novels, kind of like you could jump around and really everything should refer to something else. Everything should be there for a reason if it possibly can be. And we really looked at a season as one big organism rather than this series of standalone things, which like we said at the beginning of season 2, the network would have probably been happier at the time if we had done standalone episodes that were very digestible, that required little thought. You don't have to have seen them in any particular order. It's just not how we write. They asked us to do more of that, and we kind of said, we'll try, knowing that we were not going to try and that we can't. We could only write it this way. And I have to say, rewatching it feels very vindicating for that decision because it's very fun to watch like this again, right? It's very fun to go back and go, this is why everything was here.
But I think the sense of payoff that is tied to the longevity and serialized nature of the show is why people keep coming back to the show like it's some sort of holy shrine, because it rewards your fidelity to it. Like the more you watch it,
it's like a mystery. It is. It's little clues. I know what that clue is gonna. I know what the payoff's gonna be to that clue, and people like that. Yeah.
There's a thing. I think this is from the Bhagavad Gita. Forgive me if it's not, but there's some line essentially from like Vedic something where it says, "The first taste of ego is sweet, but its fruits are bitter. And the first taste of God is bitter, but its fruits are sweet." And I feel like what the network was saying was like, give us fruit, sweet, sweet, sweet.
Right.
Give us the thing.
Yeah.
And then it curdles over time because it's too easy. But what you guys were saying was like, we're going to give you something a little more challenging that will ultimately down the line be more rewarding for you.
Yeah, it's kind of the ultimate wait for it. Wait for it is kind of the mantra
Wait
of the
for it
series.
is the whole mantra.
That is the guiding aesthetic of the whole series.
And the last line of this season.
Yeah, which is my favorite. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there in the next one. But that is one of my maybe my favorite ending of a season we ever did, is the ending of this season. But here we are in the second to last episode.
I just realized my voice is I just want to say that I've had this upper respiratory infection for the last couple of days.
Josh is powering through it today.
I'm getting through it, and it hasn't been fun. But I'm well enough to be here today, and I'm thrilled to be here today. I was really taken. My wife and I watched the last 3 episodes all last night.
Yeah.
And I had this experience. I want to tell you this. It was during It was during Something Blue, and it reminded me of. Do you know the actor Victor Garber?
Yeah, great actor.
A great actor. He played the ship's architect in Titanic, and just had a long, great career.
Another classic architect like Ted.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And we did this musical together years ago called She Loves Me, and we had a great experience, and so we had a lot of time to chat. And he was in the original cast of Sweeney Todd, the great Stephen Sondheim musical, and he played the young ingenue. He sings that great song Joanna, and he said they opened the show and he got an offer to do, I think, this musical called They're Playing Our Song, which is a 2-hander musical. He got an offer to go on the road for a lot of money with a big star. And he left. He left Sweeney Todd to go do this. And he thought, this is a good move. It's financially makes sense. And I'm just, and then he finished the road tour. Sweeney Todd was still playing. He either got asked to go see it or he just decided to drop in. He's sitting in the audience at Sweeney Todd, this musical that he was in the original cast of. And he's sitting there and he goes, oh my God, I was in this? Like he was so stunned by what he was watching. And he had no sense of it being
when he was in it.
When he was in it, how unbelievable it was and how it was breaking form and it was so extraordinary to him. And he couldn't believe he was in it. And I had this moment last night watching this where I was like, oh my God, I was in this. Like I was in this great piece of art and I didn't know. I mean, I knew, like, I would tell you like, oh my God, that's so funny, or I think this is great. I knew I was on a clever, wonderful show that was gathering steam. I knew all that. But I didn't have a sense that I was in some sort of like iconic, generationally defining. That was our hope.
Right.
But it was so hard for me in the moment to appreciate. And now, all these years later, looking back, I really see like, oh my God, I was a part of something so cool.
Totally. It's like the best version of it's the positive version of the frog in the boiling water.
Right.
It's like our boiling water we're on a really good show and the frog's boiling water was its death, but the metaphor falls apart at a certain point. But it's like you don't quite know what ecosystem you're in as you're making it. You don't. I'm feeling that too. I'm watching it going, this is a good show. Like these final 3 of season 2 and the one we'll talk about next, Something Blue, the ending of Something Blue, which we'll get to. I just remember having this feeling editing that episode, shooting that scene of you and Neil. I'm jumping an episode here. Sorry, but having this feeling of this is working. I had a profound sense of well-being with this 2-part finale, Something Borrowed and Something Blue. I just remember feeling like we did it. We're on the crab, as they say.
Yeah. There's also something, I think that television, and I would argue music, they're not opening weekend independent art forms.
No, it's the long tail. It's
the initial sales of an album do not speak to how long or how impactful that album will be culturally. And it's the same thing with TV, especially something we gave people a treasure trove of. I'm actually startled when we've covered so much. The first 2 seasons have so much in them and so many. My memories are very strong of, even though I forget large patches. I can't believe we have 7 more seasons to go.
I know.
It's actually, it's crazy how much of this we
I'm
made.
Curious to see how he strung it out for that long. I hope some of them are good.
I was looking at the bar and I was just like, oh my God, we spent so much time in that bar, at that booth.
It's a decade. It's basically a decade of our life. If you round up just a little. It's crazy. But I had such a feeling of like, I remembered the feeling of excitement and spark of this episode and the one that follows. Like, this is a great episode. Greg Malins did a great job writing this episode. Marshall Maley's vows outside when the wedding is going so terribly and they relocate outside into one of like 4 location shoots in the entire history of How I Met Your Mother.
And it was at the park right across the street.
Right across the street. So we went.
It was our big field trip. We had. It was the
first big field trip. Right?
Pico.
I don't think we drove across Pico Boulevard from the Fox Lot to a park that is literally right there, Rancho Park. Right, that's what it's called. Yeah. It's like Cheviot Hills, Rancho Park. And that was our huge, ambitious location.
We kept talking about like one day we're going to shoot in New York City.
It never happened.
The whole show never happened. But we did get to Rancho Park.
We got to Rancho Park, and then in like season 7 or 8, we got to the Universal lot to shoot Subway Wars, and that was the farthest away we ever got. We never got outside of Los Angeles. But boy, that park was great. And that I was texting with Pam earlier, and she said. I said, do you remember shooting that? Was that right across the street in that park right by the Fox Lot? And she said, yes, I remember. I just remember it was like having class outside.
That's exactly what it felt like.
We were all having such a good time. And she said she'd try to send some photos.
I think I might have walked we'll put them with some people. You know how you could kind of either get a lift down to New York Street or walk it?
It's right there. I mean,
I always like walking.
It is a literal stone's throw away. But it's a beautiful park. It really did the trick. It felt East Coast somehow. It felt very green. Did not feel like Southern California. It looked great. And that whole sequence is so sweet. Their vows and the fact that they really get married only with this group. It almost feels like the whole group is getting married. At the end of season 2, they're all just admitting that they're the most important people to each other. Who cares about all that family and all the chaos within that wedding, venue? Let's agree what's important here, and it's us. And I think that's great.
It also, I think, contained within it is one of the larger lessons of How I Met Your Mother is like, you can do all the planning in the world that you want. Yeah. And sometimes what's right in front of you is the thing that needs to happen. And
that's your life. Your life is happening there. You think it's happening somewhere else, but it's actually happening there. Yeah. And if you pay attention, that's where the magic is too. And that is what the end of that episode feels like to me. Malin's wrote a great set of vows that they're improvised vows. I feel like that was mostly Greg. Like I just have that memory of like the script coming in, and it was so sweet and nice. We probably tweaked it a little, but it was really well done. Yeah. Here's my one regret. Ready? I like to share regrets. I like to admit when I think we kind of dropped a ball. We were talking about how much we hold on to setups and payoffs. I think we dropped a setup a little bit. Not that it would have been great. Maybe you guys talked me out of feeling bad about this one, but earlier in the season, we made a bit of hay about the fact that Lily needed to face Marshall's family's ire for canceling the wedding months and months earlier when she broke up with Marshall and delaying the wedding, and they were going to get married in Atlantic City. And then it was like, no, we got to go face the music. We got to go be there. And Lily has to stand up in front of Marshall's family, and we need to see her do that rite of passage. And then we just didn't fucking show it at all in this episode. We had a different idea. We had a different... I love what we did because what we did got them to these vows, but I feel like there should have been one beat where it was like, Marshall's family, we still haven't forgiven you for breaking up, breaking Marshall's
family even in this episode?
They're not, and I think it was probably like, it was a very big episode. Again, our first location shoot, 1 block from the Fox lot, but believe it or not, it still costs a lot of money to relocate to 1 block from the Fox lot. And I think the episode probably cost a bunch of money. We weren't a huge hit yet. And my suspicion is it was like, well, we could spend a whole bunch of money to hire all those extra Erickson folks for like one scene, but let's not do that because it's too much money. If we thought about it at all, we may have talked ourselves out of it in that way. Retrospectively, I sort of wish we had done that just so I could have felt like we threaded that one little needle. I don't think it's important. I don't think it would have changed the episode substantively, but that was... I'm admitting that every now and again when I rewatch these things, like, we could have done that. Not often.
Sometimes the 22 minutes is absolutely clarifying, and it challenges you to be at your most efficient, most streamlined kind of thinking. And other times you're like, it's 22 minutes.
I wish we had 5 extra minutes, and we just could have done a little sequence about that. But then it would have been the lovely ending of that episode would have been even more squashed, and we would have had to cut other stuff that I like. And I love Scooter in this episode. Neil's actual real life partner, David Burka, real life husband now, and Joe Manganiello is so funny in this one, and just like. It's great. It's a 3-ring circus of madness, and I love the theme that emerges from it. But I miss that one thing a little.
I will also say I'm not, much to Jordana's chagrin, I'm not, as she says, I don't have a lot of TV stamina. Like she likes to watch a bunch of episodes, and we watched 3 last night, and I was initially like, oh my god, 3, it's a lot. That's a lot. It's a big mountain to climb up. They were over before I knew. Like this show goes down smooth. Like you can nail what's it called? I'm sick.
You're sick, poor Joshy.
You can burn through a bunch of episodes in a very quick, satisfying way. They go down really easy.
They go by really, really fast. I think I watched 2 or 3 of these last few with Rebecca, and I was sad they were over. They went by really, really fast. And then in this one, I was thinking this one did leave me wanting more. I wanted that one beat more that we didn't do. But you're right. Sometimes that challenge, painting yourself into that small corner, 22 minutes, I'd say more often than not that was a good thing. Even though every now and again you kick yourself, you go, I wish we could have done this. But usually I think necessity is the mother of invention.
It keeps you leaning out any fat from it. You're like,
you just don't have
unless
time.
It's hilarious, it has to go, or unless it's plot, necessary.
Yeah. And often we would do both when it can be hilarious and advancing the plot at the same time.
Yeah, but they would make you search for those.
It forces you to do that.
I also though this episode, like we talked about, like everything in especially Lily's perfect idea of a wedding goes wrong. Like that must have been fun in a writer's room. Like, okay, perfect wedding, everything goes wrong, go. right?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that it's a
Yeah.
great assignment for a writer's room?
All of your hopes and expectations. What's the checklist of everything you want to happen and everything you don't want to happen? And you fuck up all the things that are on the list A, and you do all the things on list B. Scooter showing up. The super pregnant harp player. She was very funny. That was a good guest performance.
Yeah, very funny.
Every like guest star on the show was really like David Burke was really funny as
Oh my
Scooter in
God.
this. When he won't make eye contact.
When he won't make eye contact is one of the biggest laughs in the episode.
It really is.
He say, if you can look me in the eye and tell me you want to marry Marshall, then he...
It is such a stupid joke, and he
Yeah.
leaned into it with such exquisite earnestness.
But
David
you know,
did.
also David, like, I know he went to University of Michigan for musical theater, which is a great, like, one of the best in the country. Like,
yeah.
sometimes when an actor has, like Roger Bart, remember, like when he was on season 9, like, certain actors who have either a dance background or a musical theater background, sometimes they can lean into physicality.
Yeah,
in a way.
you see David's the dancer
you
in
see
David
his
there
dance
with that
moves,
neck
like,
movement he's doing.
It was so funny, and it was so like committed
like a
to
cartoon.
and fully inhabited. Yeah. Scooter is Scooter is an animated character.
He is.
Like Scooter is absolutely from the
he
world.
wandered
of
out
animation.
of like The Simpsons or something. He
Yeah.
came from somewhere else.
He's
and
Disco
just
Stew or something.
Staggered into this show. David
Yeah.
is having a lot of fun with that. He's
I
very
also
funny.
love. I mean, just the scene with him and Neil. If you know, you know, is so funny. Just because they're
It's so
so
funny.
they're
Oh, hey,
such
Barney.
strangers to each other.
Yeah.
Until
And I love how Brad on the show really likes Scooter until he realizes he's Scooter.
Yeah.
Once he knows he's Scooter, he's like instantly wants to go kill him and tackle him.
And it's funny how Brad is so open to being like a hired goon. Like he's like, tell me who to tackle.
He really seems like he's being paid. He seems
Yeah.
like he's Frank Sinatra's bodyguard.
Yeah. I
Just
love
tell me
that,
who to
you know,
crush.
Brad, especially in this season, became like he's just in the constellation of
Yes.
kind of peripheral characters that you can always depend on to be
Yes,
funny.
and instantly has presence. Like he can come in and matter by being on there for 3 seconds, and it's it's great.
Yeah.
He also
There's a
loses
lot
his
of like
shirt again.
classic
No
like
shirt.
door slamming and popping into rooms and in and out of rooms really quickly.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
shot out of a cannon until then it earns that slower ending outside. Like I think that was us going, we have this location shoot, we have a fucking jib, like a crane. We are going to like milk the beauty of the fact that we're in this beautiful park, having this beautiful scene. And I love yet again the softer side of Barney comes out. Barney is the first one crying at the wedding.
Yeah.
And again, and I will do some little spoilers in this episode unless Alec decides to cut it out later. But the way, Josh, that you and Kobe look at each other during the vows is really good acting, because what it is saying is that they have broken up and nobody watching knows that yet.
Right.
And you have this little moment in there that is so beautiful. And again, it really rewards a rewatch. Say that 3 times fast. And just seeing what you guys were doing there, I was like, they're just good actors. They're just like little silent cutaway moments. 2 of my favorite moments in that whole episode is dialogue free. Just your look at her and her look at you. You blink and you'll miss it, and no one watching it, in May of 2007. Is that what it was? May of 2007. May wedding. No one would have known that really at that time. You have to watch it a second or third or fourth or 30th time to get it.
Well,
but
the
it's great.
look could be, are we going to do this one day?
That's
Maybe.
why it's great, because it plays like that the first time you see it. If anything, it plays like that, but you rewatch it and you see it's not that. You guys are not actually playing it that way. Barney's a sentimental mess, and Ted and Robin are having a completely different thing. But goddamn it, they're all together and their best friends are getting married. It's great. There's so much happening in that one scene. It's great.
Yeah. What were some things I wanted to? Okay. So the first half of this are it's really like a Lily, Barney, Robin thing in the bride suite. I mean, it's so great how Barney discovers this superpower. It's for the bride.
Yeah, that was very fun. That was,
and
very
there
fun.
is, having been married 2 years ago, like there is something about the power of the bride on a wedding day is like
real.
no other.
The
thing.
groom has nothing, a fraction of it. The groom barely rates compared to the power of the bride, and that's how it should be. For the bride is that those are the 3 magic words.
Yeah. And it's so funny how he tests that and uses that. He's such an asshole to the bartender at first,
He really is.
I was team bartender in that scene.
I
was
know.
like, stop being such a douche.
He was douching out super hard at the bartender. Yeah, but Barney finding that new toy, it's basically like a little kid finds a dangerous new toy, like a toy he's not supposed to have that he can break, that's expensive, and he just starts going bananas with it. That's the whole story.
At the beginning of the episode when she says, "Oh, the Lesnar's canceled or whatever," and Robin's like, "Lesnar is more ner," and she tries to explain it to Ted, and what does he say? He says, "Yeah,
now's one of those times,
sweetie." That whole run really made me laugh.
That's a great run. Yeah.
And I love the line, "Did he look like a guy who tried to be an umpire and failed?"
He did.
He did. Lily, Allie had a reaction to Scooter that made us laugh so hard. I don't remember what it was, but she just had a face that was just so funny. But look me in the eye, like I said, maybe for me, the biggest laugh of the episode.
It was so funny. And also, it's a great thing. The other great thing about Scooter coming in is Scooter thinks he's the main character in that episode. Like, I always love that feeling of like, this he's in his movie. He's in The Graduate.
He's Benjamin Braddock in The Graduate.
In the climactic scene of the movie in his mind. And Lily's just like, no, just get out of here. No, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
It's funny and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Poor Scooter.
I love when Lily says, "Oh, grow up, Robin. Of course I want a perfect wedding."
Yeah, I know. It goes a long time, that bit where Lily's like, "I don't care, it's all good. I've got Marshall, nothing else matters." And it's like, no, who am I kidding? It fucking matters.
But then we swing over to Marshall and the disastrous.
The moment.
How have we waited this long to get to this? Which Josh, I feel like you said to me, this is the hardest you've ever laughed. Or the most you've almost lost it.
This is the most I've had to suppress a laugh.
We're talking about...
Let me just tell you that the internet, just so you know, the two biggest questions are, did he really shave his head? And was Josh really laughing? So, go.
All right, we'll answer both of those questions. Okay?
Yeah.
One thing I did want to say. So, we get the scripts that you sent out, right? But also, remember, the costume department gets the script, the hair department gets the script, makeup, props, all the set dressing, because they have to read the script through their lens of like, what do we need to do? Now, the hair department on this got a real assignment, right?
Yeah.
So they need to give Marshall frosted tips, and they need an effect where he takes a razor and does a reverse mohawk, like a landing strip in the center of his head on television. Like they have to figure that out, right?
It has to look like it really happened.
It has to look like it really
You don't
happened.
see the result of it. You see it
So
happen.
my memory, and we can call, Tina or whoever was doing, but was Tina on this second season? I think she was.
Yes, because we saw her.
We saw her.
Camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in.
So I think what they did was they bald capped Jason, right?
That is what they did. They bald capped Jason.
They bald capped
Jason
Jason with like some stubble.
Great. I mean, it really.
And then they
looked
put
real.
on a frosted tip wig, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
And
his
then
real
he
hair
actually-
is bound down under, really tight under something that looks like
But he
a
takes
pale scalp. Yeah.
this thing. But I remember we obviously could not rehearse this other than kind of miming through it.
Yeah. They must have made at least two, because if they fucked up, they must have had at least two, maybe three of that. But you only
My
have
memory
a
is we did it once. We only had to do it
looked
once.
so
It
good.
worked
We did it
so
once.
well.
God, I wonder if they only had one, but I bet they made two.
I'm pretty sure we did it once.
Yeah.
Because it was like
It looked-
and,
it was an
and the
A
other
plus,
thing that was so hard for me was because I knew he nailed the effect. So I felt like if I am laughing, I don't want to ruin that take because that's a huge reset, right?
Right. Yes.
That would take an hour to reset.
And also, you just watched a guy hit a half-court basketball shot.
Exactly.
That could have fucked up so many ways, and we would have been like, stop. Trying to preserve it if we could. But he nailed it. And it was magical how well he did that.
What made me laugh, and I don't remember if he did this in rehearsals, but the way, you know how Jason would kind of do like Fozzie Bear?
Yeah.
That was kind of a bit.
His whole life is him doing Fozzie Bear.
Yeah, he was a Fozzie Bear aficionado.
Fozzie.
He loves Fozzie. And I remember he grabbed it and he went, like it was a Muppety sound that he made as he runs the razor through his hair, right?
Yeah.
And just this insane thing. And when he did it, I was so shocked. One, that it worked. Two, how ridiculous it was and how hilarious it was. And I was like, I was not acting in that moment.
No,
what I
could
was
tell.
doing
Yeah.
was going, oh my God. Because also there's something unbelievably hilarious and upsetting. Like there's 8 different emotions going on.
It is. It's psychotic. He looks so fucking crazy, dude.
And
The
he
look on his
turns
face
around
is so
like
crazy.
Jack Nicholson in The Shining. Like he looks absolutely unhinged when he turns around.
Unhinged is the word. Yeah, and
And this was his solution to the cool guy tips.
What was his plan? How was that going to dig him out of that hole? So I was watching it with my wife Rebecca, and I rewound and watched it again 2 more times. I think I watched it 3 times total because of you. Not like your laugh was so genuine and funny. You're shocked. You're playing 6 things on your face, including I, Josh Radnor, don't want to ruin this take. That's also there.
Yes.
But there's like other layers to it too. And it's so genuinely, you're horrified, but you know it's the funniest thing ever too. Like Ted. I mean, Ted knows it's the funniest thing ever. Josh does also.
Yeah.
But like everything about that reaction shot is just pure joy to me.
But part of the joy and the challenge of it was we had never actually done it. It was like a stunt.
You look like
that
Christmas morning. You
we
look
did
like a
one
kid on
time.
Christmas morning.
We did it one time.
Yes, it was a miracle. It should not have gone that well. It does not usually work out like that.
I remember in I think it was even the table read, but when the hairdresser says to him, "You want some cool guy tips?" and he says, "I don't know if I need any tips on that."
I'm pretty cool, but I guess give me your tip.
That really made me laugh.
Yeah,
But and then
how about the good? Not even the good Backstreet Boys. The good Backstreet Boys?
Yeah.
I forgot about that joke.
But also then Ted and Barney's attempts to help him through his crisis.
My God. And Neil's take behind, in the deep background behind over Jason's shoulder when he's trying to act like it's good.
The toupee is good?
The toupee is going to work. Yeah, sorry, I'm jumping to the toupee with you. Oh my God. A reaction shot masterclass in this whole episode.
The toupee scene with the uncle is really funny.
That was really funny.
And he played it great. I mean, that guy just like,
great. Yeah.
Where would you find
that? Would work.
It was also long. Like
it was long.
Oh my God.
In an episode that had really short scenes, you gave yourself the time with that guy.
And now to go back on my earlier statement, if we had a whole bunch of Ericksons running around to tend to, I don't know if you get the wig, right? Something's got to give in 22 minutes. Yeah. Like these are the trade-offs.
Well, it has to be long enough and complicated enough for Barney's snatching of the thing to pay off.
Right. To pay off.
Hey.
To pay off. That works on every level. To pay off. Jeez, we should just end the recording right here, Alec. This is the apex of this episode.
To pay off. That is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. That was as magic as Segel shaving the perfect landing strip.
Yeah.
How we got it to pay off, I think, is the name of this episode.
We just came up with it. That will be, when you click on the episode, that's what it will be called. Fuck. It really was, when he turns around and he briefly is like weirdly calm about it for 1 second.
Yeah.
He's like, I finally...
Like this was the solution. I solved it.
As if he solved his whole life. Like, I can finally see what the point of life is. He had like this weird clarity to him. It's like...
No, it did look like someone who had broken with reality in like a pretty strong way. Yeah.
An out-of-body experience is being had there. And it's, oh my God. The toupee is amazing.
I remember feeling like Jason had some... I mean, we can ask him about this, but I remembered thinking like he loves this. Yeah. Like he loved getting to do this.
Just
like
put it like it's like the home run hitting contest in baseball. Just watching people just put him over and over again into deep left center. Like that was Segel in this whole episode. He's hilarious.
I really do. I know it was 19 years ago, which is astonishing to think about, but I have such a strong memory of watching Jason go, taking that
You've talked about it. I want to say, like, not on the pod, like, between us, you've talked about that moment so many times. And I remember you just talking about the look in Jason's, like, the look in his eyes, the look in his face when he turned to you, that it was terrifying and hilarious at the same time. Because Segel's 6'4", and now he's turning around and he looks like Doc Brown on meth. and he
looks like Colonel Kurtz.
It is very Apocalypse Now.
It's like he's been in the jungle way too
so long. He's gone. His brain is gone. He's detached from reality.
Yeah.
It's, oh my God, it's so good. And it's such a great problem that they have to solve. And the fact that it takes them that long to get to a hat is really funny.
Yeah.
No one thinks of hat.
Can I just say that I what made me laugh the hardest also, and you always talk about, Jack Handy getting a joke down to one word.
Right.
When Jason just says
hat.
That was
We thought of Native American headdress before we thought of hat.
Yeah. It's real sweet when the guy with the was he on a lawnmower or a wheelbarrow?
Wheelbarrow or something, yeah. The gardener.
But then,
the very convenient gardener.
But
which
that's
is his YouTube
there's
joke.
magic. It's an enchanted universe. The universe.
It is. The universe smiled upon them because they did the right thing. They left the bullshit chaos of the idea of what the plan was going to be.
Yeah.
See aforementioned point of entire series. And then they embraced what moment they were actually in and what their life actually was, and the universe gave them.
And he had a guitar.
Angel gardener who was clearly a ghost. I'm surprised Marshall didn't say I think this guy was. This is.
I think that's the grandpa.
This is that's the grandpa from the barn.
That's the grandpa.
He took. There we go. He left the barn, like Marshall said. He's not going to just.
Well, also when we filmed this 19 years ago, I had never been married. I had never had a wedding. My wife and I had a wedding 2 years ago, just 2 years ago, and we. It was a winter wedding, and it upstate at this beautiful venue called Cedar Lakes Estate. And we had everything obviously planned out perfectly.
Yeah.
And there was a blizzard, like a proper
fucking
blizzard. And we were supposed to get married outside. Now, we didn't know it was going to be a blizzard. We thought it would be a light flurry. So we decided to keep the wedding outside.
A decorative
we got married
flurry.
In a blizzard. Now, the photos are extraordinary.
They
and the
look
video
beautiful.
that we got is extraordinary.
Yeah.
And people who were at this wedding said this was one of the most memorable things.
Yeah.
But 1/3 of the guests were stranded that were not supposed to stay on the property, but they had to find places for everyone to sleep. I mean, it was a chaotic, stress-inducing thing that ended up in the last analysis to be perfect and beautiful and just the wedding we wanted and just the wedding we needed and got. But
look, people remember a wedding that they had to resort to cannibalism at.
Yeah,
that's one that sticks in your head.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the Donner Party, but it was close. And no, the venue was incredible. They got people things to sleep in and toiletries. Like everyone was very well taken care of.
Yeah.
But
it's great. It's great.
We said afterwards that a wedding is a dress rehearsal that is the show. Yeah. It is not something that you can perfect. And in some ways, you would mistrust a perfect wedding. It's over-determined. Weddings where... I remember I had a meditation teacher who said, we love children because they're a bundle of mistakes. Like if a child came out wearing a tux and speaking perfect English, you'd be like, that's a demon. That's a demon child. Like we love seeing them stumble and not, and mispronounce words and say so there's something about even a wedding where like there's going to be those toasts that you're like, I wish they wouldn't have said that. There's just so many things about a wedding that are it's perfect chaos. It's like it's an imperfectly perfect event. And it's a good exercise in memory too, right? Because Marshall and Lily and the show Future Ted, we don't even see Marshall and Lily's wedding. We spent an entire season talking about Marshall and Lily's wedding, and we breezed through it in a series of quick farcical cuts, right? We see the improvised thing. The more beautiful improvised thing is what we take the time to see. And then the finale of the season, we just see the sort of the aftermath, the reception, and we are in flashbacks there. We never really see much of that wedding. We actually see little glimpses of it later in series. We go back and we showed some of like other glimpses, I think. But I love that idea, Josh. I love that idea of like the thing you think it's supposed to be, it's not, and that's a lesson. Yeah. That is the life lesson of the whole show, and I love that we don't even see the wedding. We have a lot of examples of that on the show. I loved me and Jordana's wedding, but no less moving was a couple days before the wedding going to City Hall. We got married with our friend Jacob, who actually introduced us as our witness. And we did it for like insurance reasons for something, like we wanted to get her on my insurance. But so I got married a couple days before, and just the three of us at City Hall with this officiant, I found it so moving.
Yeah.
It was like the boiled down essence of the thing without any of the pomp and circumstance.
It's very similar to this.
Yeah.
And also, I bet it took a little pressure off of like when that blizzard really started going, where you thought you're like, well, fuck it, we are already married, technically speaking. And that's the gift that Marshall and Lily gave themselves. Well, I mean, in a way, Ted gave it to them, because I think Ted is the one who says
he was the one who suggested.
So do it here. Ted. That's why Ted is Ted. He said, let's do it here, and he was right. And that's the thing they all remember.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes he's no, it has to be like, when it's about him, he's like, no, it has to be like this, the plan. But for other people, he can really improvise and see an opportunity.
It's Ted becoming able to do the latter for himself that is, in a way, what we're investigating over 9 seasons, but we'll get there.
What was it Lily says? So Robin saes, first lie of the marriage. That was fast.
Yeah, the smoking. She said, she kisses him one little pack. She goes, did you smoke? No. Other way around. He says, did you smoke? First lie of the marriage. That was fast.
It's a great callback, though. The, should we do it in the bathroom? And you see Ted, please don't.
Yes, that tag is so good.
Which is such a great callback
to the bunk bed callback.
To the bunk
it's
bed.
The bunk bed callback, which is a joke from the pilot that we then saw earlier in season 2. We acted out a joke from the pilot, and now we've called it back. So that's the third gift of that one joke from the pilot. It's fantastic, man. Can you use all the buffalo? Use all. I
actually was wondering. I was like, I don't remember filming that. I was like, were those my legs? I don't know. I know it was my voice.
I have a feeling that you were all in. I have a feeling you were all in.
And they were like, this is a prop toilet. Who did this?
This isn't hooked up to anything.
That's an Arrested Development reference.
Josh is method. He's method. If he was gonna dump it.
That's right. Yeah. You hire me, you better be prepared.
One take. It's like the mohawk. We also had one take for that for other reasons.
Welcome back. We are finishing our discussion on episode 21, Something Borrowed. Alec, what do you have for us? Is this, are we still calling this general questions?
General questions. I hope we are, because we committed just now.
We just did it. We do have a couple of questions. I've asked a bunch of them during the show here. We have one little silly one. I also just want to put on the record that I really felt like Todd should have played the videographer in this show, and I'll tell you why. Because I was actually the videographer during this episode. I made a behind-the-scenes feature, which we're going to talk about in our next episode. Right. And I at the time I was like, can't you just put me in? Like, well, you were already Todd. And I was like, well, maybe Todd is so pissed that you guys got Van Smoot that I couldn't quite put it together. But it really felt like
the one thing, Alec, we knew about Todd is that he fucking hated these people for getting the Van Smoot house. Now he's videographing their wedding. Come on,
a bridge too far.
Come on, show some commitment to your character versus just your desire to be on camera.
No, I just want look. I still get checks for $46.
It's called integrity.
Every 3 months, and I go out to half a dinner with it. Here's just
you remember there was a bar in the Valley called Residuals? Do you remember
yes, where all the checks up on the wall. Right?
Yeah,
like
you could bring in your residual
cent.
check. I think if it was under $5 or $10,
yeah,
you could exchange it for a drink, and they would put the check on the wall.
I think that's still there.
That's amazing. I get 1 cent from Showtime. I get
Residuals Tavern.
Yes,
still going. Wow. Residuals Tavern, Studio City. Opens today. Opens at noon today. All right.
That's amazing. Wow. Yes.
Go bring your residuals.
Yeah.
Alec, go in there with your $46 check.
No, I was in the cold open of a Showtime show, and I get a 1 cent check for that.
All right. Well, I think any residual gets you a drink now. I thought that we're now just making up with their policy at residuals. I don't know if that's true.
They're like, that's not how it works. Get out of here.
Stop saying we're going to be sued for residuals.
So we have a lot of folks on. We have a lot of folks on Instagram and on our website who are just like, they're so happy this podcast exists because they do have these like nitty gritty detail questions. And they're like, oh my God, I get to actually ask this. So this is not profound, but Eddie _ did that says, I have a question that has burdened me for years. In this episode, we discovered that Scooter's real name is Bill. And it's not just a minor detail. There's a whole running joke around it. But later in season 8, we discover that his name is Jeff.
Oh, no.
Was this a mistake, or is there some sort of story behind it?
It would be a flat out mistake. This is how I find out. I enjoy saying that when it's possible. This is a good way to say it. This is how I find out.
Yeah.
If we did that, we fucked it up. Oh my God. Is that for sure true? Can we get some verification? Can we get some evidence?
And I've asked him for it. I've asked him for the evidence. So while we're doing some other stuff, I'm going to check if he has responded to me.
Of all things to fuck up, to get David Burkett, Neil's actual husband's character's name wrong. Of all the ones to fuck up.
I will say though, if I was in the writers' room and it was a vote between Bill and Jeff, Scooter seems like a Jeff more than a Bill.
I don't know how, but I don't know why, but you're right. Somehow it's true.
Yeah.
I hope we didn't fuck that up, but if we did, boy, mea culpa.
All
what
right.
can we say?
Or maybe it's just that old. No. It's that Ted in 2030 just.
He forgets. Yeah, it's a lapse in memory.
That's our get out of jail free card. Okay, so it was intentional. We were just
Solid.
trying to make it the real thing in 2030. How you don't remember everyone's name anymore? Phew, saved it.
All right. We have a great
by the way,
letter.
Alec, I just realized Todd could have been in the episode because Todd could have been fucking up the videography on purpose because he's their enemy and that would have fit.
He's
into
a
the
saboteur.
theme. So I'm gonna go. Hey, he would have been one of the saboteurs. I'm deeply sorry. You're right. I'm wrong. You know what? This whole thing, I fucked everything up. I fucked Scooter's name up. I fucked that up.
Look,
just
you owe me $46.
All
right, we got a great letter, Josh. This one came to you.
Yeah. A wonderful letter that I received that I asked if we could read on the air. And he said, sure, he would be honored. Also, if you would like to send us a letter about your relationship to the show, how it's affected you and what it's meant to you over the years, or if you want to drop us a voice note that maybe we could read at the or play at the beginning of the show, go to our Squarespace created website,
Synergy.
howwemadeyyourmother.com, HWMYM.
You got it.
HWMYM.com. Go to contact, and it should be pretty clear from there because Squarespace makes everything pretty clear. And Alec did a great job with that. Here is today's letter. Hi, Josh. I wanted to say thank you. I watched Liberal Arts in 2015. That's a movie I wrote and directed, and recommended it to my friends. When they saw the movie, they went, "That's Ted Mosby, Shantanu." And I had no idea who that was. After about a year of wondering whether I should even start watching movies or TV shows, I was completely new to cinema. I thought, you know what? Let's give How I Met Your Mother a try. All caps, hooked. It was unbelievable. I'd never seen someone disguise such a serious drama as a comedy like that.
Yeah.
After the show ended, I watched the cast interviews, the bloopers, basically anything I could find. That's when I started hearing your thoughts on fame, happiness, and humanity. Apart from my dad, I have two male role models. One is you, and the other is Maddie Healy from the 1975. Thank you for showing me that my thoughts are not who I am. My actions are. I had to limit my social media usage to 2 days a month to really live by that. Watching the world split itself into left versus right, I've realized it's better for me to just shut up, do my job, and take care of the people around me. I want my music, the art I'm building, to not be about that divide. I want it to be for everyone. I now spend a lot of effort trying to understand someone's intent before I say something. It's tough to do in my head, but I'll be okay. I know. Happy thank you more, please. Shantan.
Thanks
Thanks for
lovely.
that. That's
Boy.
wonderful. You know, I really love this observation. A serious drama disguised as a comedy.
That's the show.
I thought that was a really wonderful observation.
Yeah,
you know?
me too. I love that way of framing it. That's how we think of it, and that's the Trojan horse we were sneaking onto CBS in 2005, among a lot of other sitcoms. I would say. I don't even mean that as an insult. They were just different tones, and we were our own little thing, and that's what we were. So thanks for seeing it.
Yeah, and thanks for checking out my movies and different talks I've given and stuff I've written. So.
That's a great compliment to you, Josh. Like someone like to be looked up to that way. Like that's really cool, and I'm glad that's coming through in the podcast too. And it's lovely to hear.
Yeah, thanks so much.
I am guilty. Please acquit me. All sins are forgiven. In New York City.
How We Made Your Mother is hosted and executive produced by Josh Radnor and Craig Thomas. The show was produced by me, Alec Lev, and our co-producer is Doug Matica. Our audio producer and mixer is Alex Reeves at Point of Blue Studios, and our digital content producer, aka Gen Z Master, is Emily Blumberg. Artwork by John Morrow. Please follow, rate, and review the show on Apple Podcasts or your podcast player of choice. It really does help the show. Our theme song is NYC by our own Josh Radnor, with additional music by Craig Thomas and Andrew Majewski. Special thanks to Lola Kennedy and Elliot Connors. Visit howwemadeyourmother.com to sign up for our Substack mailing list and for links to our social media. You can also click on the contact page to send us an email or a voice message. Your stories and questions are an important part of the show. Want some merch? Click on the store link or go to howyougetyourmerch.com. Subscribe to Josh Radnor's newsletters on Substack. Order Craig Thomas's debut novel at craigthomaswriter.com/novel. And you can subscribe to my Dead Fathers Society, also on Substack. To learn about how you make a difference,